today for another Sketch to Scrap Saturday video. So for today I've got this sketch for you which has one 3x4 photo, and it's a relatively simple one. It's a 8.5 times 11 and the title is on a kind of vertical axis, and just some embellishments underneath the title, and then I'm also gonna put some journaling on the right there. And I'm also planning to have, I guess, a few strips of embellishment just underneath the photo there, just to ground the photo. So let's get started. The first thing I want to point out is I'm going to be using a bunch of products from the Hip Kit Club from February 2016, and that's their scrapbook kit. I'm also going to be using a bunch of products from Felicity Jane as well. Now, the first thing you see me doing here is I want to mat the background paper, that white background paper, with a pattern paper. And I'm also planning to use these strips of scallop, I guess, vellum, as well as the wooden piece there, which are from Felicity Jane's Maggie kit. So I just picked out, I'm just looking through a bunch of pattern paper, and as you can see there, the kit I'm using is from the Hip Kit Club, and that is from Feb 2016. And I guess I'm just looking through a few of them and just test them out. I want something kind of not too bright, but also kind of has a hint of blue. And so I see this pattern paper and it looks really nice. It's from Pink Paisley. I think it's from the Felicity collection. And so I decided to go with this one. I think it's called number 12. And so I'm just off the side there trimming the pattern paper into 8.5 times 11, and that's just the excess there. I'm also going to be trimming off this white cardstock as well. And the way I trimmed it out, so I think I trim off about a quarter or almost half of an inch from the left as well as the top. So essentially you'll be left with almost a quarter of an inch less than, I guess, coming in, I guess. Room to see your pattern paper. That's what it is. So after I cut it, I now just gonna adhere that onto the pattern paper at the back there. And as you can see there, there's, you can't really see the pattern paper that well, but I really like how it has a hint of blue and also very plain wood grain pattern as well. And there's almost a hint of pink on the left. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm just testing out a few ideas in terms of trying to get the more color onto the vellum piece, the die cut vellum piece there. And I decided to go with just adding some kind of inking the edges of the scallop piece here. And I'm just using the Stays On ink rather than normal kind of pigment ink or dye ink, just mainly because it's vellum and it needs something a little bit more, I guess, it needs ink that will stay on, I guess. And the ink colors you can see there, I'm using the Stays On black ink, timber brown ink. So it's essentially kind of a darkish brown. It's not, I don't use it very often, mainly because it's actually quite dark. So, but I think it worked quite well just as, just kind of inking up the edges of your die cut pieces. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold back one of the corners, just the top right corner, and I am going to be using a brad to hold that down. So I'm just looking through a bunch of brads I've got in my stash, and I store them in these kind of box thing, kind of container, which is from Stampin' Up. So I got a few of these on a carousel, which works quite well. And now I am going to punch a hole. I was actually going to use the crocodile, but it didn't want to go in it doesn't go in very far. So I decided to use this Martha Stewart eyelet tool, which I think it puts a hole on anywhere on your page, even in the middle, which works really well for me. And now I am just adding that brad, and that is it. And now I'm just kind of layering, trying to see where I want to place these scallop pieces. And I decided to cut off part of the vellum and then just to kind of add to the left side, just to complete the line there. And for the wooden piece here, I'm actually using both the rolling adhesive as well as a glossy accent. To be honest, I could have just used the glossy accent and it would have been fine. Probably the rolling adhesive would be fine too, but I tend to use glossy accent for something that bulky, just to, I guess, be on the safe side. And I have to apologise, I'm not sure what's going on with the camera there, and I'm hoping that it will go back soon. And now I'm just kind of packing up really. I am going to look through a bunch of embellishments I've got in my stash. So I'm just looking through this pack of die cut pieces from Pink Paisley's Felicity collection. And this one, once again, is from the Hip Kit Club's Feb 2016. And I'm just looking through a bunch of stuff, and I picked out that tag which says me and you on the top there in gold. And now I'm just packing this back up. I will probably get a few more pieces of embellishments to add. And now I'm just thinking, what do I want to add? I decided to pick out this pack of die cut pieces. And this one is actually from I think it's from the latest Hip Kit. And it's the Dear Lizzie die cut pack, which is from her Saturday line. And so I'm just going through a bunch of stuff in the pack, and I really like the colours in this die cut pack. I decided to use this navy colour die cut piece, which I think it's like a map of the world or something like that. And now I'm adding that tab on the top there, and I want to create a cluster of embellishments just down that kind of the corner between the wooden piece and as well as the photo. And so I've got these 3 pieces, 2 donuts or something, a picture of a donut or something, and one which just looks like a ball. And I think the colours work really well with the pen paper that I use as a background. And now I'm also going to be adding this cork, this hard one, which is from the Feb 2016 from Scrapbook, from the Hip Kit Club as well. Now I just printed out I printed out some journaling just using my computer. So I printed it out I used a laser printer, and I just printed out on an A5 paper. For some of you in the US, it's essentially about half of the 8.5 times 11. And now I'm just trimming that down and trying to fit all the journaling underneath the word happy there. And I think I'm gonna add these strips of journaling first. And I'm just using glossy accent to add these strips of journaling. And I actually find the glossy accent bottle works really well. I was told that, you know, if you use the matte one, it would work better because it doesn't show up as easily, I guess. But I've been really happy with the glossy accent in this bottle. So I know some people use those kind of really precise tip, and you know, I tried once but it didn't work very well for me. I couldn't really squeeze the liquid out, so I decided to just keep the current bottle. And now I am also using these enamel dots, which are the twine and ink, as you can see there, and also the color theory from Studio Calico. And these ones are, the one that you can see there, are actually from the Hip Kit Club. And it's actually Simple Story branded one. Another thing I want to point out is I try to glue down, adhere down the vellum piece. It's a hello there, and I find if you just put the glue on your finger and just rub it underneath the piece of vellum, it's actually quite easy to, you can't actually see it, and I think it works really well, and it sticks down quite well. And especially when the vellum is actually quite thin, so you don't need, you know, that much glue anyway. So if you don't have a zero machine, just put a dab of glue on your finger and just tuck it underneath. And that's been working really well for me. Now I'm just adding the date using the Edwards brand new ink pad, and it's called Olympia. And so here is the sketch. Thank you guys for joining me once again. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be posting the sketch on my blog as per usual at eatscrapbake.wordpress.com. If you want YouTube to let you know when my next video comes out, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, I hope you give it a thumbs up so I know that you enjoyed it. And thank you so much for joining me again. See ya, bye!